Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin to lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to PSGL Season 36, round number 10 of the PS F1 Championship. And we go to where it all started on F1 23 just a few seasons ago. It is at Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix, a track where we've seen multiple great races in PSGL history, including some title deciders. My name is Jess Ball, and joining me in the commentary box is Mr. James Head. But James, we kind of got some interesting news which kind of shakes the title a little bit. But if you haven't looked at Twitter, what has happened in the past few days to have changed all this?
Well, unfortunately, I'm now going to ruin it for every single person that's now tuned into the stream by saying we haven't got a championship battle tonight. Even though you might think, oh yeah, Matteo and Cameron Dowd's going to be here tonight. Matteo's not racing. He's not actually attending. We will get an interview from him later on, though, when he does return back. Cameron Dowd picked up a qualifying, sorry, not a qualifying ban. He picked up 1 license point and 5 seconds added to their race time last week. That was for his incident, if I'm not mistaken. That was for pit exit breach, crossing the pit lane exit, and that is why. And if you reach if a driver reaches 10 license points, you do pick up a race ban. So that is what Cameron Dowd has got. Matteo not here tonight, which means Matteo de facto champion here tonight. But that is not all said and done, because we have got that battle for second going on in the standings as well.
Yes, we do. And obviously, congratulations to Matteo. The first time that he has won a PS F1 title, and the second time in the last few seasons that the F2 champion from last season has gone on to win the F1 title the next season. Obviously, last season it went to Aurelian, but he wasn't in F2 the season before. He was in F1. But season 34, Jerry Van Bussel was F1 champion, and season 33, he was F2 champion. So Matteo is going to be joining in the ranks of drivers who have done that, which is very great to see. But let's look at the drivers' standings, as you can see on your screen. So it won't be officially champion until obviously lap 1, but since both of them are not here tonight, we've got Matteo in first with 104, Cameron Dowd in second on 80 points. But the big fight that we've got right now at the moment is between Flotman on 67 points in third and Rens Tomlinson in fourth for 66 points. It's a 1-point gap between the two of them. Volakonga can still bring a surprise in there as well if the other two struggle. Ian Van Uben and Kiki, who's done very well around Brazil as well, on 35 and 29 points respectively. Lotman and Rens, they've been fighting with each other quite a lot this season in terms of battling. So this could get very, very close for the last 2 rounds of the season. Just because the title decider is over, it doesn't mean we have a fight for second and third in the championship. It's going to be so tight.
It is going to be so tight, and we did permutations about this earlier on. Both Flotman and Rens can actually DNF tonight and still remain within a second place finish in the championship, even at Kota. So no matter what happens here tonight, there's not all doom and gloom, and hopefully Flotman and Rens do give us a good battle. My concern, though, is Rens had that very aggressive fight with Cameron Dowd on lap 27 last week in the Netherlands. That was through, I think, turns 11 and 12 in towards the chicane. I think we caught it on stream, if I'm not mistaken. There was no further action said about that. However, he has been involved in that battle last week with Cameron Dowd, so that might just send him back a little bit. We know how aggressive Flotman can get in terms of his driving as well. It's going to be one of those races where I think it could open for first-time winner this season. And I am immediately looking at F7i Yossi for my prediction for pole position, maybe even for the race win as well. He, I think, has had very much an unlucky season. He has been involved in incident upon incident every single week. I think this is his time to shine, so I'm going F7 now Yossi for that race win. And if I get that right, then put the lottery numbers on.
Well, Mr. J's head is always good in terms of predicting winners. He's beaten me in the last few weeks, so that's just probably saying that I am rubbish in terms of predictions. But yeah, Yossi has really come in leaps and bounds on this game. Of course, he was in the F1 side from season 34 and did a really incredible job. And the first time I actually commentated on him was one of the evaluation races around Spain. And I was just like, this guy is good. This driver is good. He was in F3, moved straight up to F1, and he's just had some decent races. But the race has just let him down. Qualifying's good. He just needs to work on his race pace. But this is a track where qualifying is going to be one of the closest of the season. And pretty much the pace gap is going to be quite close between all the no assist tiers on a Monday night. So we could maybe expect maybe F2 to beat the F1 sides. We'll have to wait and see. But we are about to get underway. Brazil is just such an iconic track in league racing, of course. We've got plenty of corners which could be unforgiving, especially Sector 2. First Usborne one back in, I would say, the early 1970s. It was Emerson Fittipaldi that took the race win that day. But let's look at the stats, James, on who has done well in the past. So season 31, we saw Legend Rosenberg take victory. Season 30 was Sander van Dijken. Sander now a kick Sauber driver. Congratulations to him. He's kind of like helping Thomas Gronhoff and Brendan Lee in the land event as well. The next event is in May, so not that long to go. Jordan Poland, season 29, he took the victory there. He's doing some real life racing now, which is really, really good. Matthias Van Erman, season 26 winner. We know what happened there. That was the championship finale where we saw Gil took the title. So Matthias Van Erman, he was in the fight for that championship, but he messed up a little bit. Valentin Bruffair, season 25 winner. Louis Welsh, Lambo, what a name, what a throwback there. And Abbey in season 21. And the most more recent seasons, Jensen took the win on season 33, but we remember in lap 1, it was absolutely chaos. And I think it was the title was decided after one lap. Season 34, Buddy Holden, but he's now on the PC side. So those are your winners. But who's going to join them tonight? We'll have to wait and see. It's such an iconic track, though, isn't it, James?
It really is, and I think judging by the names that have won it around here, the likes of Xander Van Dyke and the likes of Legend Rosenberg in recent seasons, Wilson Hughes, Matthias Van Erven, they've all got one thing in common. They've all moved to PC, and that is going to be, I think, where most of our drivers are going. Maybe this season in F1 23. I've had it on good advice that I know at least one of our drivers, I'm not going to give away who until the end of the live stream, is going to remain on console, so I'm very, very happy about that. Jess already knows who I'm on about, luckily.
Yes, I do.
But we are going to see some really good racing, I think, out on track. I mean, season 30, Xander Van Dyken beating Ismail Fassi. Ismail Fassi finishing second. Matthew Walder, probably one of the most recognisable PSGL drivers in terms of race wins. That was a goated season, I've got to say. It was one of your first seasons, I think, in the commentary books for F1 as well, Jess. And obviously, no, you were in F2, I think, that season, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was season 31 that was my first season on PSF1.
That was Luke Etheridge's last season, I think, in F1, if I'm not mistaken, then, if that is the case. But judging by the names,
season 30 was Luke's last commentary in PSF1, yes, before he moved over to the PC side.
Yeah, judging by the illustrious roll of honour that we've got, anybody could take this race. When judging by the quickness of drivers getting out on track, I think it's going to be a dry qualifying session. We are going to see the first drivers now leaving onto the pit lane. Of course, we have got a constructors battle going on as well at this stage. McLaren out on top on 110. They've got Baki to rely on here tonight. Alfa Romeo in second on 96. 14 points separate them coming into tonight. Williams there in third on 82. That is the top three in terms of the constructor standings as well. But the first drivers are out on track. Yes, who have we got first out?
We've got Yvonne, who is out on circuit first of all, who is currently doing a lot better this season than in previous seasons. He got a P2 in Azerbaijan. Of course, he wasn't here last week in Zandvoort, but I assume he would have done very well in Zandvoort. He is another driver that's come on leaps and bounds in terms of improvement from season to season, and that is very great to see. And we're coming towards the end of the game cycle. We've seen drivers who have been in lower tiers to start the game cycle and then they end up here, which is just really brilliant. I like seeing their progress, and hopefully they will be on the F1 sim racing stage someday too. So you're passing one of the corners, which is very tricky to negotiate on F1 23 and in general in league racing around the Brazilian Grand Prix, as we're about to get started with this lap time. We will expect lap times to be very, very low and very, very quick. So watch out for that, and the gaps are going to be quite big. So, quite small, sorry. So, James, your own's on a lap. I'll let you take us for a lap around this Interlagos circuit.
Yeah, let's run on board with your own, running now down the straight in toward the left-hand of turn number 1 at the centre S, and then through the right-hand of turn number 2 at the centre S as well. So we'll see what your own can do through these first opening corners, through the right-hand now of turn number 2, through the left-hand now of turn number 3 at the centre S, now down the Retroposta, down and towards the seat of the Lago, not to be confused with Curva del Savaglio, as I normally mention around here. 16.7 though, from your own in the first sector, looking too bad, in towards the seat of the Lago at turn number 4, and immediately invalidates in terms of his lap time. I think Ryan, however, is on a lap just ahead of him, 16.797 in that first sector, so 200s down on what Jeroen was setting in that first sector split. Ryan is now negotiating the traffic coming through Magudio at turn number 11, and then toward the left-hander now, turn number 12, 50.7 in this middle sector, with a 107.104 pole position in F2. That was set by EPL Ryan. We may already see potentially quicker lap time than that, even at this early stage in the session, as Ryan now comes down the hill in towards turn 15, on the run to the line, 107.5, not a bad run, but drivers can go a hell of a lot quicker than that.
Yes, they can, and we're seeing more drivers coming up to the line now. We got an Aston Martin following off each other, but we got some invalidations already to start this session, as Rennes, my pick for pole and the race win today at 107.362. Now, that is a good lap. We could see times in the 106 if Brando slots himself into P3. He's fast in the third sector. Clockman's looking very, very quick, and he's just proven my facts really well. He was fast in the middle sector, and that is where you gain all that time on your lap, and he's proven that. A 107.2, 60.7 middle sector, so he's not quite fastest yet. We've got, I think, someone else who just came across the line. We've got Stefano, who's filling in for Cameron Dowles tonight in at 6th fastest. He hasn't raced much in PSGL PSF1 this season due to commitments and setup issues, but he's back. So welcome back to PSGL PSF1, Stefano. It's great to have you here. And Jamie, he's going up to the line. He wasn't sure if he was able to race today, but here he is in a Mercedes. He goes up to the line. What's going to be for the Mercedes driver? A P2, a 107.343. Not fast in any sector, but the most consistent. And Sapalo follows him in P3, James.
Does indeed. Ignore my pick, by the way, down in P16 right now. Yossi invalidated his first run, but Flopman out on top, Jamie there in second, Apollo there in third. Pretty much the top end of the field is how I expect them to go around here. Jamie, a little bit of a shock, I've got to be honest. He's normally off the pace around here in qualifying, sitting a very good first lap in, 107.343. You mentioned there about Enelo Stefano as well. I believe he's had to get a whole new setup. He had a new wheel, new pedals, all being fixed. He's been out about 2 months in the league racing scene with that, and now he's back with those new pedals, with that new setup. He said on social media early on, he doesn't expect to get anywhere. I think he'd snipe, but he's in 9th position, ahead of Nuth, ahead of Baki. That'll fill him with a lot of confidence, and he's a 10th quicker than those guys as well, as Volakongan, I think, has just come across the line to go into 7th position out on track. Yoti Fedi now was on the run to the line as well, 50.7 in that middle sector. Should be going around the mid-pack battle, I think, early on. Oh, he goes 5th even, 107.494. Good run there from the Aston Martin man, but it is Flopman out on top. Jamie 2nd, Sapala there in 3rd, Rennes there currently in 4th position. I think first runs are pretty much done. Still yet to see a lap time from Jeroen and indeed from Yossi down in P15 and 16. But it's currently the Frenchman who currently is no Flopman out on track. He is leading the way in that Sauber from Jamie in 2nd, Sapala there in 3rd, with 6 minutes gone in the session. The first third of qualifying is already done.
Yes, very, very quick indeed, but there's 2 drivers who yet to set a lap time and they're going to go out as quickly as they can, and Jeroen is not messing around. He's going out again. And so is Renz Tomlinson. So that gives us some interesting time to talk a little bit about the track. So it's named the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in honour of Carlos Pache, who won at this very track in 1975, but it was renamed in his honour after he was killed in a plane crash in 1997. It was used to be somewhere where a lot of houses were built there as well. The circuit was opened back in 1940. It was originally 7.960 kilometres, 4.946 miles long. It had 26 turns, which is around about the same amount of turns you get in Jeddah. And now it was shortened to 4.325 kilometres, have 15 turns. And now the track lost 3 long straight sections and 9 fast curves and gained a new infill section as well. And then when F1 came into the fold, that is where they changed a little bit as well. And obviously Ayrton Senna has been a staple around the Brazilian Grand Prix, and he was able to win races around incredible circumstances as Euroni's getting heat into his tyres and just starting his lap, of course. Some more renovation changes back in 2015. There was a bit of asphalt resurfaced back in 2007 as well. And in 1999, that was when the track was into 4.309 kilometres. So Euroni's making his way towards turn number 1. Let's see if he doesn't invalidate this time. We've got more people on runs. There are certain drivers who I think we got to keep an eye on tonight. Keke is one of them. Keke, he had a podium here in Challengers, which was last year. Obviously, we had no Challengers this year yet, but Keke has looked really good around this track in terms of league racing, both in that scene and in other leagues as well. And it's no mean feat if you perform in pressure situations like that. Imagining him doing well here, but he's only a few tenths down between himself and Vlotman, but that is quite a lot of placings, which shows how close it is out on track. Noob's heading towards turn 9 and 10 now. Almost got a bit of oversteer in towards the end of the second sector, but he's keeping it there. But Keke is the one I'm keeping my eye on tonight.
Yeah, Keke on the run. He's actually in the pit lane just yet. Jeroen, by the way, Sapala as well. I think is just going to come out of the pit lane very soon. Jeroen, however, though, was bailed back into the pit lane, so clearly not happy with anything going wrong from on that lap. Nuth goes 5th, however, 107.432, and he actually goes, Tim goes quicker with that lap time, and then Ryan comes in into 5th. I'm getting confused all over the place here. Ryan there 5th. 107.378, Tim 107.432, and Nuth on a 107.452. That glint in my screen definitely not helping with my eyesight, but I can definitely tell you that. But it's Flopman out on top from Jamie second. Apollo there in 3rd. Renz also came back in the pit lane as well. Must have tried to get a sight lap in as Yossi goes 2nd, 107.334. Didn't even see him on a lap time, to be fair to him, but the Swiss man, who I normally call the Swiss chocolatier, out on track, he's there into 2nd position, Jamie there in 3rd. Not a bad run there at all, but it is Frenchman from a Swiss man from a Brit.
Yeah, different nationalities right now on track in the top 3, and certain drivers you wouldn't expect with the likes of Jamie and Sapalo as well. Sapalo obviously down in 21st in the standings. You would expect him to be higher due to his quali pace, but again, lap 1 always seems to be his downside, and he just needs to keep his consistency up and not get involved in too much incidents in order for him to score a bit higher. But there has been some races where he struggled to qualify inside the top 10, and it's hard in tracks which is hard to overtake or weather changes. So I think Zapala, it could be his night tonight as he makes his way towards turn number 1, of course. He could gain quite a bit in the Drivers' Championship with certain drivers not here today. Gustav, another notable driver, not here tonight. The driver as another driver who's come on leaping bounce. Even though he's 17th in the championship, he has got pole. I think he got pole in Baku as well, which is probably one of the hardest places to get pole at. As I thought Sapala slowed down a bit. He almost got blocked on his lap, James.
He did almost. That was very well timed, by the way. I've just put my light on and everything. Flopman out on top. Yossi 2nd. Jamie there in 3rd. And yeah, he did get blocked on his lap time. It's very unfortunate as well, as Flopman goes even quicker, however. 107.131. Whole lap time, as I say, was a 107.104 in F2. That was quicker than at the start of the game cycle in season 34, where we had a 107.214, if I'm not mistaken, as pole position, something like that. Sapala there in 4th position. Definitely not happy, but at least he can try and go again. The benefit of this track, with it being so short, pretty much like Austria, is you can try and get 4 runs in within qualifying. Your own certainly trying to manage that toward the bottom end of the field. He's on an outlap right now. Sapala looks like he's going to bail back into the pit lane. In fact, no, he's going to go again, is Sapala, so we'll run on board with him very soon indeed. But Flopman out on top, Jamie there in second, Yossi there in third. Just trying to see if there's anybody else on a lap time right now. I think TRT Feddy is on a lap time. The Aston Martin on the run toward the line right now. Should be around a 107.3. 107.4, just shy of that, but he does improve in his lap time, doesn't improve position there, stays in 12th position. Volakongan is down, Baki down, Brandox as well is down through this middle sector. So it is Flopman from Jamie from Yossi, currently the top 3, and that is a very good top 3 to have on your side. Sapala, though, in that first sector, already invalidated through turn 4.
Yes, turn 4, I think, is pretty much one of the most common parts of the track to invalidate the center S as well. It's quite difficult because of how tight the curves really are as well. And there's one thing that I don't like around this track. There is sausage curves. Yeah, just there. It's an absolute nightmare. And I think they should get rid of it in general in F1 circuits. But they don't seem to listen to any of us on that front in terms of getting rid of sausage curves. As Sapala goes into the pit lane, he bails out. Renz, my pick, he's heading towards Jung Sao now. What is his sector time in sector 1 and 2? Well, he's green in the first sector, 16.737 and then a 33.674. That is good. That is good for Renz. It's matching what Flopman could do in P1. What's it going to be for Renz? I think this could be part way. Oh, very close. Just 12,000 separating Flopman and Renz. Out there on top, we got Ryan, Ren's teammate, who's heading towards the start of the first sector, 16.764. Not far off Flopman. Brando comes across the line. Well, actually, no, he doesn't go across the line. So someone else came across the line, I think. But the times keep chopping and changing. It was Sapala, yeah. As Tim is going to head towards Jung Xiao now. Tim, 16.7, 33.7. It's all around about the same sectors. If anyone gets lower than that, then their time is absolutely awful. So Tim up to the line now. What's it going to be for him? That is a very decent lap from Tim. He's had shockers of poles recently this season, which is great to see. Stefano has invalidated, and Noob's just heading towards turn 4 now to Cena Delago. This is insane stuff. If you're just a tenth or 2 slower, sometimes it will only put you outside the top 10. It's just huge.
It is really huge around this track, and even to have a gap where Flopman is, where Sapala is, and Ryan, for example, that's a 2.5 tenth gap, and you will very much find on minimal improvements towards the end of the session. And when those minimal improvements do come, they can sometimes make a difference, but normally drivers don't actually improve in their final sectors, in their final runs. So it's all going to be dependent, I think, on who can get out there first, who's got the benefit of the best track temperature and the best track conditions out on track, and try and make sure that they can get a good lap in. Flopman out on top, Renz in second, Tim there in third. You mentioned about Tim. Of course, he picked up pole position in Austria earlier on in the season as well. Very much a shock pole position, because I think it was the last to come across the line. Didn't even see him on a lap time. He has got a real knack, I've got to say, for leaving it late in terms of getting pole position. He's put himself within the chance. He's a 10th of a second off Flopman, just under a 10th of a second off Renz. He can find a bit of improvement on that lap time. Tim potentially could be on for a shock pole position. I'm not even ruling out my man Yossi there down in P5. It is there for the taking. Without Matteo and Cameron Dowds, it opens up this race to a whole new prospect. I think for you guys as the viewers, you've got the best seats in the house.
You definitely got the best seat in the house, and it could be anyone's race to lose because of how close it is, and with our 2 championship protagonists out of this as well. So, and obviously Matteo, he couldn't make it at the start of the race because he won't be back in time, but James has prepared some nice questions to ask Matteo later on after we had the podium interviews. I'm looking forward to hearing how we thought his season has gone from his perspective in terms of the growth from PSF2 to PSF1 as well. And you also get a chance in chat to ask your questions to our champion-elect in PSF1 as we got our first illegal blocking of the stream, which means, you know what, James? We get a lobby restart. We thought we would avoid that here today, but that means we get a little bit of time to reflect a little bit as well. And we should do what PSF2 did, do some rock, paper, scissors. How about that, James?
If Ryan is quick enough in terms of getting the lobby, I don't think we need to go to that extremity, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the end.
Flopman has just left the session, so I'm going to see if I can drop him another invite in just while we do that. The drivers are preparing up on their lap times. Very interesting, by the way, that Sapala actually backed off his run. He was up in the first sector, backed off his run coming through turn number 3 even. So he looks like he's going to go again. I've seen drivers do this before. It's not the best idea, honestly, to do that. Obviously, with this track being how it is, with how congested this track is, Flopman now has got to rely on Renz, Tim, everyone not improving. He cannot get another run on his lap time, another run in this session. So it's all up now to the mercy of everyone else out on track. And one of the first drivers out on track, I think, is EC8 Jamie, who was actually coming through this middle sector split very soon indeed. Through Magudio at turn number 11, and his middle sector, 50.3. Well on it from EC8 Jamie. Now the brick comes through the final couple of corners through, with the sun glinting in my eye, even though I've got the light on, coming to the left under 14, as a bit of those boxes, now running down the hill, even in towards turn number 15. Has Jamie done enough for pole? No, goes third in the end, 107.172. Ren's there, just on up on a lap time. Yossi is down in the first sector. Marios has just ended up on a lap. Sapala's down in the first sector. So not really minimal improvements coming at this stage. Ryan to the middle sector is a 10th up. He's going to be one of the next to come across the line. I think Baki is on the run toward the line as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he improved in the end, but it's Flopman at the mercy of everyone else in this qualifying session. Somebody could snatch this. Ryan on the run to the line, I don't think is doing enough right now. Comes to the line, 107.2 though, puts him in the ballpark.
Yes, people are about to cross the line as we have got, I think, the Aston Martin of Fede, who just came across the line in P14. Jeroen goes up to the line. Rent is down. Jeroen could only manage 16th, but he's about 5 tenths lower. And we got Yossi. James is picked for pole and the race win. Out there on top right now. Renz goes up to the line. I don't think that's much improvement for him. No, it's not. He's only in third spot. We got the Ferrari of Keke, who could only manage 11th fastest. We got the Alfa, the Sauber driver of Brando. He's been looking good in these sectors. He goes 5th. Brilliant from him. Then we got one of the McLarens. That is Marios, who's slowed down. Baki goes up to the line next on older rubber. But is that going to make a difference? No, it's not. So it's just Jamie's going up to the line. He goes to the pit lane. So that is it then for qualifying. It is Yossi by just under half the, 15 thousandths is on pole position. And the gap between the whole grid is less than 5 tenths per second.
Which is pretty mad, I've got to say, to be honest. No, luckily, you didn't have the camera on me there, I'll be honest. I was absolutely chuffed with that lap time from Yossi. A 107.116. She didn't even see it, which is really good. You guys didn't even see it at home, which I've got away with, which I'm really glad about. Yossi out on top, though. Flopman in second. Yossi, sorry, who was in third there? I've just lost my train of thought. Goodness me. Anyway, Renz was in third. But it is Yossi out on top. The Alpine man out on top. I did say he could put a lap in, and he has done. And he's got himself in the position that he hasn't found himself in all season. He's on the front row of the grid. Not only that, he is well up there in terms of taking this race win as well. Yossi out on top from Flopman in second. Ren's there in third, Jamie there in fourth, Brandok's there in fifth, Sapala in sixth, Tim there in seventh, Ryan there in eighth, Marios in ninth, and Baki ran up the top 10, with Keki there in 11th. Slightly disappointing qualifying session from him. Stefano there, only, 4,000th of a second ahead of Volakongan. Volakongan 1,000th ahead of Nuth there down in 14th, Freddy there in 15th, and then, as you say there, Jeroen down in 16th position, 4 1/4 tenths of a second covering the top 16. While we go for an intermission break, let's have a word from our sponsors, GT Omega.
Welcome back to PSGL PSF1 with myself and James in the commentary box to take you through the penultimate round of the season. And we had Yossi, who pipped to the post and got pole position for this evening's race. A driver that you wouldn't expect, but with certain drivers not here tonight, it's very, very good for him. But with how close this field is, I expect a lot of overtakes. We could be in for one of the races of the season.
We could well be indeed. I mean, F2's had it all from a wet start to a dry end, I think, in F2. So they've been really going through the ballpark, really going through the ringer, I've got to say, as well. But with this top three, Yossi out on top, Flopman second, Ren's there in third. Flopman, but we absolutely ruined his luck. He is, I don't think, rejoined the session just yet. So hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. Hopefully he can take control of his car at the start of the race. The good thing is, with the lobby restart, we can get him back in and he starts from fresh. So we can restart his router, have a proper refresh and everything. But he's going to be so frustrated at that because he disconnected from that session when he was in pole position. I think he could have improved on that lap time. He definitely could have got a 107 flat, I believe, out of that lap time. And in the end, it's very unfortunate that we didn't get to see him out there. But it's external circumstances. These things happen. And in the end, Yossi set a quicker lap time than him out on track. And Yossi was the one to take pole position, Flopman in second. But your pick, though, Ren's down in P3. Very, very happy with his lap time. He actually invalidated his final run, which is why you didn't see him improve on that final run. If that's anything to go by from what I'm seeing on the left-hand side of my screen, Yossi just taking the race win out on track. So if that's anything to go by, the omens are with me, the omens are with Yossi here tonight.
And it'll be good for you in the chat to let us know who is you think is going to get the win tonight. And I'm sure James Head will check Twitch and YouTube for all information. We are live on both platforms tonight, and it's good to see you supporting us as well throughout F1 23 so far. But yeah, Yossi out on the net on fine form, and we got to keep an eye on Renz and Flopman tonight again as well, because they're starting near each other on the grid. Now, who do you think is going to have the best run going into turn one? Would it be Renz or would it be Flopman?
It depends who's going to be on the inside line. I think P1 normally starts at the inside line, which I account to as the dirty side of the grid. I think you've got to be on the right-hand side of the grid, i.e. even numbered spots, P2, P4, P6, to try and get a run. So I'd be looking at Flopman potentially for a very good run down and towards turn one. If he can get the launch, if he can get the run on Yossi. One thing with Yossi is he's very weak normally in terms of his right starts. Normally misses a gear here and there. Just puts him up in the vanguard down in towards turn number one. And if that is the case, and he misses a gear or so, that means Flopman's going to get the run. Renz will get the run down in towards turn number one. We could see all hell breaking loose like we did in season 33, albeit it was wet conditions that day as well. And that was Tom Roberts in title contention, if I'm not mistaken, getting wiped out on lap one and a 4-5 car pile-up through the Centre S at turn number 3 down in towards turn number 4. So anything can happen around here. We have had the likes of Wilson Hughes win around here, Xander Van Dyken, Matthias Van Erven, Ismail Fassi finishing second as well. So the drivers have got very good form around this track, but with this new breed of driver coming through on console, it is literally wide open here tonight.
It is wide open, and that's a good thing as well. It's a good warm-up, of course, for Season 37, which is going to be on the new game, F1 24, and F1 24 today released a deep dive all about the handling model, and it kind of awards smooth driving as well in terms of the tyre wear, the ERS management as well. There's just so many interesting factors going into the new game where that some drivers may be weak at in general on F1 23, but if they're best at tyre wear on this year's game, next year's game, they're going to work well. So we're going to keep an eye on the tyre wear going into these last few races, and we can make our predictions from there who's going to do well on F1 24 based on what we've seen from Codemaster and EA about the new handling model going into F1 24. I really do like the new ERS mode of management. That is, I think, something that's going to be good. And what?
Oh wow, we're getting going already.
Yeah, we are. So, unfortunately, James, we don't get time to do rock, paper, scissors.
Terrible. Ryan has got us though back on schedule, back on time with this quick lobby restart. Full credit to him.
Hopefully you remember to grid.
I hope he has as well. I think it is a custom grid. I'm sure everyone was still in the lobby, so we could just literally set everyone up. Flopman, I can report, is also in the lobby, which is really good. So that means he's going to start and take control of his car at this race restart. Oscar there saying in the chat, bounties, yes or no? No for me.
As in bounty shot. Oh, I know what that
Chocolate.
reference is. Brendan Lee. Brendan Lee
Brendan
saying
Lee,
he
yeah.
wants more bounties in F1 sim racing. I don't mind them, to be honest with you. I really do. Of course, I like Brendan Lee anyway. So, yeah, that is the answer to that question as well. It'll be interesting to get your thoughts in the chat about that as well. But, yeah, we are keen to get going. And well done to all the drivers, by the way, which means that we got going as quickly as we can, even with a lobby restart. So, because the drivers would have waited before. Now, in terms of setup, that is quite tricky today because, of course, you want low downforce for the straights, but it's very technical corners heading towards sector 2. So some people will be running compromised setups for it to work for one characteristic, but maybe not the other. But if I were you, maybe probably have one which has a little bit of understeer so you could be good in a straight line and in the corners as well.
Definitely. So I think obviously with there being more corners than there is straights around here, I think it's more particular to go for downfall setup,
Yeah.
especially coming through those middle sectors where you can really snap out the rear end, especially at the top of the hill through Pico de Pato at turn number 10. You can really snap out the rear end, and normally that oversteer and understeer combination is really going to be very hard on the tyres. Tyre wear, as I mentioned in our notes, 4% on a set of hard compounder tyres, around about 5% on a set of mediums, and 6% on a set of soft compounder tyre. So if that is anything to go by, we should be seeing drivers opt to go hards, mediums, mediums and hards. One of the combination of the two. Could see what Jerry Van Bussel did around here back in the day, is go hard softs potentially, and that is going to put him well back in the vanguard in terms of that race. Of course, Jerry Van Bussel is not here, so hopefully nobody is going to take the look from season 34 into this race here, but we are going to get going very soon indeed. It looks as if drivers were saving up a set of tyres potentially for the end of the race. Tim's certainly mentioning that, but he saved the setup for nothing because we better get underway very soon.
Yes, because with the lobby restart, you will have completely fresh tyres for the soft, mediums and the hardcore man tyres. I think we will see soft tonight as well, potentially towards the end of the race. Mediums and softs could work, but I think we could see potentially more people doing mediums to hards. I like these kind of tracks where there's multiple strategies around, because if we're just having hards to mediums or mediums to hards, it's not the best way usually of going things. We want a variety on F1 on 23 and on the F1 gates, and hopefully on F1 24 we could see that variety in strategy. But I know that all drivers would want to go for the best strategy possible as well. But of course, we'll find out in a few months' time which could be the OP strategy for each chat, and them experimenting with setups potentially too. But I think, have they been given the call to ready up yet? Oh, yeah.
They should be ready.
Okay, that was good timing. We're about to get underway. The 5 red lights are on here at PSF1, and it is action here in Brazil. Yossi gets a good start. So does Flopman in towards turn number 1. Renz has a good start as well compared to Flopman, and it is very, very clean from our top 3. Brando down the inside of Flopman. Flopman is struggling for grip here, so I wonder if he's got not got a setup on which is designed for the straights. He might be one that's set for the corners. Tim to the inside and Jamie towards turn number 4, very tight, but Tim's got it. It's been someone that's gone over, but it's got the McLaren's at Backy. Yes, it is. He is gone down into 16th place. He might have had a bit of damage as well. It might just gone into a spin. Tapala getting past Jamie in towards turn number 7, but he's been under pressure from Stefano, who's making his reappearance after missing quite a lot of the season due to setup changes. He's going to try and go for the move towards turn 7 and 8. Can he do it? We got one of the Aston Martins going for a dive bomb on the Ferrari. That is Fede on Keke, but Keke's like, nope, I'm not going for this. I'm not going to let you go for this move. Keke's up to 12th. Fede's up to down to 13th, but Yossi, good start. Flopman dropped down to 4. He had a good getaway, but it was Wenz who had the better traction going into the first corner.
And that all came down to him having the outside line down in towards turn one, the much cleaner side of the grid. That's why Yossi got better away. And there's a lock up there from Tim. Ryan going around the outside of the centre. That's a beautiful move. And that is how he turned a negative into a positive. Tim could still do this, though. Down the straight, down the retroposter, in towards the seat of the logo. He's on the back there of Ryan. But Ryan there into fourth, snipping up the inside line of the centre S. Getting the job done. He's been into fourth, Tim there in fifth, but already that mistake from Tim has cost them that 1 second gap. It's going to be very hard to try and bridge into. Brandox has had a really good start in this race. And Flopman, as you mentioned, oh my word, Stefano to the inside line in the background on the back of Jamie. Not going to go for that one, my sonny Jim. But Flopman there in sixth. Definitely struggling. I think it's more on the tyres than it is on the setup. I think he has got a setup on that car. Otherwise, I don't think he'd be actually keeping up with these guys. But he is on a set of hard compounded tyres. Yeah, it might be the compounded tyres he's on. Might be tyre pressures you mentioned. But he is struggling early on. P6 out on track. He's lost 3 off this race start. In fact, he's lost 4 off this race start. Yossi leading the way, Ren's there in second, Brandox there in third. We're about to go on to lap 3. DRS, of course, is enabled this lap around. Stefano again trying to eye up Jamie. Jamie on the back is Sapala, not going to get the job done, and everyone there settling into their rhythms.
Yep, they are. They are getting used to racing with each other around this track. They're all very, very compact, and due to the gaps were so tiny in qualifying, we expect to see massive and massive of DRS change. I like the variety of strategy. We've got 5 drivers on the softs in the top 5. We've got Flopman, Spala, Jamie on the hards, Stefano and Nuva on the softs. This is the race of the first race of the season where I've seen more people on the softs than the hards on the mediums, which is great. Now, we don't know what the weather's going to be like for the race. I will check my telemetry to see. It is going to be a completely dry race, so we're not going to have any rain at all. But for most people, they just want to get the softs out of the way and stretch them. It is a very nice tire to be on. I've been on the softs for quite a while around it, and they feel pretty nice. But they got to find their optimum pace very, very quickly. DRS is enabled. We've got to change for the lead, potentially, between Renz and Yossi. Tim and Ryan try to do the same thing. Renz gets the lead. Tim gets P4 from Ryan before even hitting the braking zone. Tim's on a mission, but he's got to be careful to not push too much, because otherwise he won't have any tyres left going into his one and only stop later on.
Yeah, and what I'm liking actually early on in this situation with Ryan especially, as Nuther goes to the inside line, as Stefano down the straight in towards turn number 4, that's job done for him, up into 9th. Ryan has got considerable amounts of EOS compared to everyone else ahead of him. Tim's on 35%, Brandox is on 10%, Yossi's on 19, Ren's on 27. So that is the early stages of the Grand Prix in terms of the ERS from the top 5. And Ryan has got considerably more compared to the guys ahead. I think the front 3 have gone too hard too early on that set of soft compound tyre. They're going to be wearing their tyres out around about lap 9, lap 10. Could see pit stops potentially from around lap 12, lap 13, potentially even later on in the race than that. But it's going to be a real uphill task now for Tim and Ryan to draw them back. If I was in their effect, I'd be working together at this point. I'd be absolutely thinking, right, we've got to think about getting ourselves into the race, and we've got to think quick and on our feet, because if not, they're going to be really much under pressure. Speaking of under pressure, Fetty to the outside line of Stefano. In towards turn number 1 as well. The Aston Martin goes all the way around the outside. Now the inside line of turn number 2. Stefano is still there on the outside line. And to be fair, for a man that hasn't had any pedals the last 2 months, as Yossi retakes the race lead from Renz as well. Marios now getting involved in this battle on that set of medium compound tyre. Fetty going to be the one that absolutely loses out on this. Marios to the inside line. Unsettled the back of Stefano. Stefano is forced off. Marios Spoonies into 10th. Fetty in 11th. Stefano there in 12th. All of that came from Marios having that incident with Stefano, clipping the rear end down towards turn number 4. Stefano's car unsettled. That's down him into P12. And Yossi, as I mentioned, Jess, now into the race lead. Quite a lot going on.
I think the top 2 will be working together to get the DRS from each other and pull away from the rest of the field. And that's what they're doing to Brando as well. And if you're not having the DRS, that's where you're losing the time. Look at Tim. He's 2.4 seconds behind Brando. And he loses all that time because he's been fighting with the likes of Ryan, Flopman, Stepala, Jamie and Nu. So we pretty much effectively got 2 DRS trades going on as Renz now takes the lead from Yossi there. So I think there's going to be some ding-dong battles between those 2. Brando's still out there in this battle, just keeping himself to himself in case anything bad happens between the 2 of them. Yossi could get a good run in towards turn number 4. Can he do it towards the Lago? Nope, he's not going to do it just yet. Can Ryan do the same in towards turn number 4? The answer to that is no. As we did see someone go a bit wide, as that was very tight for Stefano. He's getting a bit squiggly on exit through turn 4. Head towards turn 5 now. I think there's a lot of people struggling for downforce, especially in these tight and twisty corners.
Definitely so. And Stefano was looking to the inside line there in your own. I was on board with the AlphaTauri man. And honestly, he was looking for a half-shaped, Aston Martin-shaped gap up the inside line. I've got to be honest, down towards turn number 4. And he's locked up again. Speaking of locks up as well, I think Nuth has gone wide there. Coming through turn number 11, turn number 10 even at Pico de Pato. And has now got Fetty right up his back end. Coming to the left-hander now of Junsao at turn number 12. Kimi Räikkönen famously getting lost, of course, there in 2012. Fetty there on the back of Nuth. Nuth under pressure, and because he's locked up his tyres, that's not going to be to great effect. And here comes the Aston Martin charging now to the inside line. He hasn't got the slipstream though ahead. He might have the move though on the brakes, and he does have the move on the brakes. Fetty through, and he's into 10th position. Fetty feeding quite literally his eye through, pretty much like a needle in a haystack there from him. Moving up the field as well as Ryan up the 4th, and Leron now attacking the back of your Nuth in towards turn number 4 as well. Hand of rage there from the Aston Martin man. Gets the move done nonetheless. Bit of hand of rage. Bit like Kimi Räikkönen back here in 2012 again. Stefano's really struggling. Teki's going around the outside of him now in towards Ferragura. Not quite getting the move done. Pulls the inside line, defends very aggressively. Teki's not going for that one. Remain as we are in that battle. But Renz leads the way. Yossi second. Branduk's there in third. Front 3 are now saving up their batteries, saving up that ERS. Brandux has still got 20% less compared to everyone else ahead of him. So this is going to be an uphill task for Brandux. He is literally hanging on for grim life there at the back and the front too.
Yep, he is. To be fair, I'm just looking at his ERS uses now, if I could just see just about on the dash. He's used that quite a lot to stay in touch with these front 2, so he just got to effectively save a better. As we've got Tim and Flotman going side by side with Ryan. Ryan having absolutely beautiful car control there, going through in towards turn 1. He's through past the centre S's now, in towards turn number 3. Ryan covers off Flotman. Flotman is doing well to keep up on those hard tyres. Sapalo trying to get past Tim on the inside, in towards turn number 4. Can he make it stick? He pulls the left-hand side, keeps that line, and that was absolutely perfect execution from Sipala up into 6th spot on those hard compound tyres. And I wonder if those softs are just starting to really lose his optimum pace right now. Those hards are definitely getting up the temperature between these lot, and they're all so tight. Watch out for Jamie. It's not over for him yet. And Marios as well on the back of this as well. The memes are starting to be the best tyre for now. And Jamie's got to get past these drivers ASAP. He could go for a switching move, but Marios is like, if anything you could do, I could do better. Past Jung Sao. He almost got past Jamie there, but he's right on the back of Jamie in towards third sector. We got tons of moves happening in the space of a few corners. So the first we're going to see is between Yossi and Renze get past into the lead. Bing, bam, boom. But we want to see Flopman versus Ryan and Sapala as well in towards turn number 1. Who's going to have the upper hand as well? Around the outside they go. Sapala wants to try and get another position, and bravo goes Sapala, one of the drivers of the day so far. Yossi does get past Renz Thomas as they both of them almost made contact. Flotman and Sapala and Ryan there. Ryan does get past Sapala in towards turn number 4. Beautiful stuff. The more battling that we're seeing is between 4th, 5th and 6th. I'm sorry that I'm not following the front 2 very much. There's just good battling happening with these guys.
Yeah, and it's getting aggressive in this mid-pack, but it's getting aggressive but clean in this mid-pack as well. Ryan was like, nah, you're not having that one, Flopman. No, you're not having that one, Sapala. Got the move around the outside through turn number 1, had the inside for turn number 2, got the job done, and Ryan thought, nah, I'm not letting you get through. Sapala's back down into 6th position. Ryan fought that move back. Yes, he forced him off track slightly, but you had to do. You had to do. It's a left-handed corner, it's a bank corner as well, and you've only got to try and force off just a little bit your driver on the right-hand side of you, just to make that little bit of contact, for not to be that aggressive. And for me, that wasn't aggressive in terms of that battle whatsoever. Jamie on the back of Tim in towards turn 1, not getting the job done, but Renz did on the back of Yossi. Yossi there in second. Renz now leading the race. There's a retirement in the pit lane, and that is NLR Nuth. That's a shame for NLR Nuth. He was running quite good. I think, though, we might have picked up potentially damage, I think, on that car. if I'm not mistaken. There's a still fight going on the midfield. Bit of a real lock there from Tim on the outside line now. Gets swamped up by Jamie, and now could get swallowed up by the medium compound tires, and Marius around the outside in towards Ferradur at turn number 6. Tries to get the loop up towards the switchback, in towards turn 7, now in toward Laran Howard, orange corner at turn number 8, in the orange papaya colour car, now goes around the outside and towards turn number 9. Marius is still there, the Cypriot, to the inside line, in towards turn number 10, medium surely going to be working in his favour, now getting the job done, coming out through Mergudio at turn number 11, that is how you drive here in Brazil. Mario Spoonies into 8, Tim there in 9, the soft compound tyres are falling off the cliff for Tim.
And don't forget, Marios is a reserve driver, so that is interesting in the books that you want to. Your reserve driver only found out with a few moments' notice. This is insane stuff. Your roads are board. This could be free winding towards turn number 1. Very tight between Tim and Jerome through the centre S's. I think Marios going to try and swoop around the outside potentially. If that works for Marios, that could be so good. You can see Marios right on the back of Tim towards turn number 4. He's going for the dive bomb. Unfortunately, Marios, that did not work there. No. And he's out of the race.
Safety car.
And we got a safety car. Sadly, he went from hero to 0 in 1 lap.
He did, and that was too risky to the inside line. Fetty, unfortunately, I think the Goldstein system completely failed there to back up a little bit of Marios's point. But Fetty there has just lost his front wing as a result of that. Nearly could have ended up out of the race from an incident that he didn't cause. Definitely the stewards are going to have a look into that, but there's only one man to blame, and that's the man who's sadly out of the race. Marios there down in P15. Got very much locked up on the brakes, down in towards turn number 4. It's a very tricky corner. If you mess up that braking point, it's very tricky, and I think Marios has done that. But not only that, he's took out, I think, Jeroen with him as well. Jeroen's now down in P14, right down in the plumb last position in this field, as everyone's now going to bail in the pit lane. I'd assume for set of hard. Oh, Ren did hit Yossi there into the pit lane. Flopman in, Ryan in, everyone will be in, even if they're double stacked. Jamie's just nearly hit Sapala into the back as well, but everyone's now in the pit lane. They could potentially get mediums to the end of the race. 25 laps is going to be a real push, but they could potentially see medium compound tyres go to the end. For drivers that are still on a set of softs and have now transitioned to a set of hards like Brandox has done, I think personally that's the right call. Everyone else is going to have to rely, I think, on another safety car just to come out, just to back up themselves in terms of getting to the end of the race on these compounded tyres. Yossi leads the way, Renton second, Brandox there in third. It's very unfortunate for Marios, but at the end of the day, he'll have to take responsibility for his own actions there because it was a mistake. It's a stupid mistake at that. I know he will learn, and I know for fine fact he will come bouncing back better than ever next week.
Yeah, because he is a good driver. The moves he made beforehand was amazing, and sometimes you can't make the moves like that perfectly. You've got to read the drivers around you because they may not react to you in the same way as well, so you've got to be smart about that. And that comes with experience. Obviously, Marios is his first season in PSF1, whereas for some people like Volakongan, to put it into perspective, Volakongan is the most experienced driver we have on this grid in PSF1. That is, I have to say, is pretty crazy. Most of them have only been here for a few seasons, so I think I would expect Volakongan to take advantage out of all this as well. We're not going to take any advantage of the undercut because obviously they had to pit. I'm still a bit shocked that many people did not go onto the hards, but it just shows how better of time management people are compared to me, potentially, James, because I am rubbish at time management around Brazil. But let's run through your order around here. So we've got Yossi out there on top, Rendon second, Brando, Ryan, Jamie, Flopman, Parla, Tim, Backy, as we got someone in the pit lane. I see what Keke's doing. Has he got another set of hards potentially? But he went on those hards for quite a bit. Unless he went on softs. Nope, it's fresh hards. He's going to the end of the race, it looks like, James. Interesting.
And Jeroen's done the complete inverse to what Keke's just done coming in the pit lane as well. He's actually gone from a set of hards to a set of medium compound tyres. Now, a lap fresher mediums around here, in my notes, I've got it at about 5% better off in terms of tyre wear on this race. So Jeroen will have 5% fresher tyres, essentially, towards the end of the race. My concern, my big concern is where he's positioned out on track. He's there in P14. Normally when you end up further down the field, unless there's absolute God's amount of contact ahead of you, you are not going to be really making many positions in this race. You're going to be finding the odds and ends positions, you're going to be finding the weakness in people's setups, but you're not going to be making as many positions as what you might think. So your own, there in P14, set a medium compound tyres on that car, might be good in the short term. Longer term, though, within this race, with the translation of how this race could end up, ideally, I think they need another safety car just to try and counteract anything that might happen. The safety car's now in this lap. Yossi now virtual Belinda. He's now the virtual safety car. And Jess, we can sit back and relax for the next 24 laps because Yossi runs out on top, first and second position. Our picks are currently 1-2, so stop the count.
Stop the count, indeed, for those two, but there's other drivers that could change all that. Flopman down in 6th position. He's definitely out of position right now, but Yossi is going to decide when he is going to go. He's probably going to leave it till late, but if I was him, maybe come and, yeah, I would accelerate now if I was perfectly honest. But he's waiting, he's going now just before the pit entry, and that's exactly what I would have done. And Renz had a good restart as well. So both Yossi and Renz, equally good restart. So did Sapala actually heading towards turn number 1. He caught Flopman off guard in towards the centre, and that was very tight and very calculated move from Sapala up into 6th spot. But Flopman could try and fight back here through 3 in towards turn number 4. They all stay line of stern following each other. We've got Jeroen who's got past Kege very nicely up to 13. But apart from that, not much changes from our top 8 as well. Flopman seems to be struggling on those mediums for a little bit, but he is closing in on Sapala once again. It just shows that the ability of these drivers is absolutely brilliant. These are the drivers who deserve to be in PSF1. And Yossi at the moment now on top. But don't forget, DRS won't be activated until lap 16. So Ren's just got to stick behind Yossi for the time being to make sure he has the DRS and can get past.
Yeah, definitely. So Ren's there was right on the back of Yossi into that restart. As I've mentioned there, if you might have heard me in the background, Yossi had a really poor restart, and now he's going to get found out because Renz is now coming at him down in towards turn 1. The Dutchman is going to try and pull to the inside line. He seeks Yossi. He seeks fresh blood to the inside line. Yossi's like, nah, I'm not fighting that. He's into the lead of the race. Renz lead, Ryan up to 3rd as well, passing Brandox. That's good news actually for Ryan because he can now drag the train along with him. Brandox can then remain on that sort of whole compound and tie in behind, and everyone can remain in that train. So that's very good that Ryan has got that move done on Brandox. Otherwise, they would have been losing a lot of time. And to be fair, actually, Ryan is losing time to the front too. But Ren's there leading the way. Yossi there in second. Yossi's got the longer term right of this game as his goal in this race. Yossi there in second. Ren's leading the way. Yossi's got 12% more ERS than Ren's at this stage of the race. We're only through the halfway stage. So this is going to be like one of my league race wins actually in Bahrain on this game cycle. Try and drag people out in terms of the ERS. That's what I think Renz is going to be trying to do. Just try and drag the field out, make it as long as possible until there's no safety cars, there's no implementation of that later on in the race. But Yossi has got more ERS than Renz. He can fight back until the cats come home. Down and towards turn number 1. Jamie's going to try and find the move as well on Brandox. He is storming at the back of Brandox. The Italian now to the inside line, on the outside line. The Brit now to the inside line. Job done for Jamie. Stoney's into 4th.
Rubbish camera angle, by the way. I was tempted to go on board, but couldn't do it. But yeah, that was awful. But we did see Jamie go for the move, but not the best camera angle. But Brando is maybe going to try and fight back. Nope, he shuts the door because it is hard to follow on this game for some moments. So very understandable. DRS is activated. It's now chance for all the drivers to get on their A game once again. And I agree with you in terms of ERS management. The job of the driver in front is to make sure that the guys behind you burn as much ERS as possible and you save them. Because, of course, Renz is going to be saving up the most because he's leading. And he's not going to bother if Yossi passes him because on the next lap, you're going to get the DRS and get past anyway. But it's about thinking tactically. What do you want to do on the final lap? Do you want to be the one with DRS or do you want to be the one who is in the lead? It depends on the amount of pressure as well, because sometimes if you're in P2 and trying to go for the move, you may not like that pressure in particular as well. But here comes Yossi then, in towards turn number 1. He's going to breeze past Red Somonson. Yossi to the inside. gets past and into the race lead as Zapala trying to go for a move on. Brando almost turned in. Oh, that could have been disaster. That could have been game over for both of them. But they were aware of each other, and that's why they stayed on track. As Flopman gets past Brando, Brando is struggling a little bit to get heat into the tyres, so that's why he's in 7th. It might be the tyre pressures a little bit, but it is the midfield battle, James, that's going strong once again, it seems.
It is indeed, yeah. Brandock's made a mistake, actually, down in towards turn number 1. That's where you saw Sapala then rejoin halfway through the corner at turn number 2. Very difficult to do. Brandock's could have easily got spun there. He luckily didn't. He's down in 7th position, though, as a result, because he lost all of that momentum coming through turn number 1. And momentum is everything through the opening corners on this lap to try and get a run. Flopman is going to try and get a run, I think, on Sapala, who's just nipped outside of DRS range, I think. It's a second now between the gap of Jamie and Sapala, and I think he is outside of DRS range here. So Flopman, this is going to be one easy overtake for the man on a set of medium compound and tyres, flies past Sapala as if he's standing still down the straight. Ren's getting the move done for the race lead on the back of Yossi as well. They're having that yo-yo effect going on out in front. But Ren's leads the way, Yossi second, Ryan Thuney's into 3rd, Flopman Thuney's into 5th, and also I think we saw maybe Volakongan moving past on Stefano, if I'm not mistaken. He's up into 10th position as well. But the front 3 just beginning to pull away. Jamie just doesn't have the pace, nor the ERS, I think, to fight at this stage of the race. We are halfway through, and Renz currently holds the car down on top. But Sapala has just made, I think, a mistake coming through the right-hander. I think he's got damage. Sapala's definitely got damage, or there's something wrong with his car. He is completely off circuit. Very weird. I thought it was a puncture as well, but I think he's okay. He spins
I'm
the car
just
and
looking at the
rejoins
rears. I'm looking at the rears to see if he's got a puncture.
Wheel disconnect, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, that is a shame, because I was wondering why he was dropping so much. Because I don't
pedals.
think it could be the pedals, yeah. So I expect to see this lap time a bit lower than before. It is a shame because he was one of the drivers. I swear, every time I call a driver to be one of the best so far in this race, they drop down. So I'm going to shut up on that regard, James, because otherwise people will get fed up with my cursings. But we got Tim and Brando right on the thick of things in this battle once again. Flopman has been able to pull away because of this, so it is broken free into 2 DRS trays. Look at this, we've got one of the Alpha Tauris and Stefano trying to get past Volakongan in the background, but can't quite do it. Those tyres have got to get to the end of this race, and unless they could get to around about lap 25 and 26 unscathed, I think quite a few people may be trying to go for a 2-stop, which could be faster than the end. So, of course, we have to wait and see. Ren Somerson and Yossi still going strong a little bit, but we got, I think, Euro just 1/10 shy of Stefano, who could get past towards turn number 8 and 9. So Euro almost rides the curb there, which could have been disastrous, but luckily it wasn't. But we are starting to see time ticking through for these drivers. We're halfway into this race now. Don't forget to leave us a like and comment, subscribe button, hit that bell if you're new, and if you're on YouTube, follow us on Twitch and follow us on Twitter as well at Premier Sim GL. Yossi not getting past Renz just yet. He's being patient, James.
Yeah, he's being patient. He wants to try and save a bit of more ERS, I think, towards the end of this race. Apollo, by the way, I think it might just be damage potentially on his car, which is why he's still continuing on. He has lost the weight 10th of a second as Yossi goes for the race lead down and towards turn number 4. Rightly on ball with him, actually, there. Yossi through, and he's into the lead. Ren's there in 2nd, Ryan there in 3rd. But because now the front 3 have just been sort of swapping positions rather than really aggressively fighting out on track, it's brought Jamie into play, and it's brought Flopman into play. And I think Flopman at this stage could be the one to watch out for. He's got 46% of ERS. He's got slightly fresher tyres towards Jamie and Ryan. I think he's got a 2% advantage right now over Jamie in terms of his tyre life, in terms of what I'm seeing in my telemetry. Jamie there in 4th, Ryan there in 3rd. So it is looking good from Flopman's perspective. And now with Tim and Brandox on a set of hards in behind, their tyres are going to get going from around about lap 26-7 onwards towards the end of the race. So this gap has to be trying to maintain. They've got the DRS ahead. They're going to be pulling away as Renz pulls alongside Yossi towards turn number 1. Job done for the Dutchman. He's back Boonies into the race leader. Sapala's picked up a 3-second penalty. Backy backs off towards the inside line of turn number 1, but does go for the move in the end. goes through and he's into 7th. Brandok's there in 8th, and now Volakongan is under pressure from the back of Enelo Stefano. Stefano got the fight down in towards turn number 4. Not quite. I think everyone's just running line astern for now. Sapala is continuing on, but the way he is losing time, Jess, he has got everyone in the DRS train ahead of him, to be fair. So he is losing time because of that, but I have a feeling he's losing time to something more sinister. Whether that is wheel, whether that is pedals, whether that is gears, whether that's anything.
Your Volakongan almost made for a move there. He goes around the outside and towards the technical sector. He goes, and I think he's going to make it sit. Brando trying it once again to the inside. Oh, they're still going side by side in towards Jung Sao. Surely this is going to not work well, but Volakongan doesn't go for it this time around. But that's allowing Girona Stefano going up again as well. Could we see a change for the lead once again? Let's watch Renz and Yossi. Yep. Yossi does have the DRS and he does get past into the race lead, but that will. Volakongan and Brando down the straight. Stefano as well.
Oh my God.
Yaron up into, well, he was up to 8th place, but Yaron has got damage with Keke. No.
Yaron. He was trying to take Matteo, I think, in a quintuple overtake that he overtook last week in Legacy Division. Yaron was trying to do exactly the same thing as what Matteo did in Miami. Didn't work though. He got too hot on the brakes, unfortunately, down into turn number 1. It would have been probably one of the maddest overtakes I've ever seen around here if he pulled it off. But in the end, he's down in P13. He had a spin as well, coming through the corner, and Yaron there. Matteo was watching that, by the way. He would have been very proud of that attempt, at the very least, from the Dutchman. They're down in P13, but he's now got really overheated tyres. Sapala's going to be brought back into play as a result of that as well. But Yossi now leads the way. Ren's in 2nd, Ryan there in 3rd. Still the front 5 holding sway at this stage of the race. Brandok's dropping down as a result of that as well. Avatar mentioned in the chat on YouTube, if there's not another safety car, I see Tim on the podium. Tim there in 6th position. He's hanging on, but I think the guys ahead are just going to have too much of an advantage as Renz again pulls alongside Yossi down in towards turn 1. Job done for him. Renz and Yossi making F1 in real life looking pretty silly right now with the amount of overtakes they've made this race.
There has been a lot of changes for the lead, aren't they? And we don't get that in F1. Look, I think we had about 50 or 60 changes for the lead in NASCAR last night, which I have to say was crazy. And the last lap was kind of interesting. The big one happened at Talladega. If you know, you know, but I'm not going to spoil things too much. It's a case for those of you that want to watch it. But we're not seeing a big one here because they're doing some very clean racing. And I can agree that Tim could potentially be on the podium. Tim's got the best tyres available. Those who get to the end of the race, he's saving them. And he'll be able to push later on as well. Whereas everyone has got to be more conservative from now. And Tim can push. So watch out for Tim. He is going to be in on another level. So he's probably on the best tyres to be right now. But we're watching Jamie right on the back of Ryan, who goes Flopman as well on Jamie. Flopman to the left-hand side of Jamie just for the braking zone. Flopman is up into 4th place. Yossi gets ahead of Renz Thomason into P1. And that's going to be another switcheroo. I don't know how many switcheroos have happened here, but it's quite a lot.
It is quite a lot, and it's probably going to bang on the point that I'm going to make now. They don't want to lead onto the final lap of the race, and I think that is definitely key for how they are overtaking at the stage. We saw Yossi underneath the safety car restart. I think the 2nd lap underneath that safety car restart, he thought, right, Renz, you're going ahead, you're going to force the pace, and I'm just going to sit in behind. That's what they want to do around this track. They want to get the driver ahead, a driver to do the donkey work, and then to capitalise on their tyres towards the end of the race. So it's going to be really key. Flopman, by the way, is looking very cool, calm and calculated right now in P4. He is the man to watch out for in this race. He's on the back of Ryan, 70% of ERS. Ryan's got 81, so a little bit more than Flopman behind him. But Flopman's got the pace, crucially, down the straight, which I think is really important to have around a track, especially where there's more corners than there is straights. Down the straight, you've got to try and make good effect, and Flopman is on the back of Ryan, running down the straight and towards turn 1. I think Renz is going to go for about the 23rd overtake that we're going to see here tonight between the both of them. Renz through he's into the lead of the race once again. Yossi there in 2nd. The switcheroos going on out on track. Tim, though, not losing time. I'll come on to Avatar point again about him getting potentially a podium finish. He's there in P6. He's holding his own. the front of the train. Nobody is attacking them in behind, and that is because they think, obviously, Tim has got the pace on those tyres to try and get and latch them onto the back, and it's through the middle sector where you're going to be seeing that gain for Tim in the not-too-distant future. I said around lap 26, 27 will be the turning point. We're about to reach that point, as they've nearly Constantino up and behind, so the more they fight aggressively in front of them, the more Tim is brought into play. So I completely agree with Avatar, I think.
Yeah, I think the more laps it has gone in this race, I think the more that I'm agreeing with Avatar's point, lap after lap, really. So, and I wonder what other people would think as well in terms of hard compound tyres. Without Brando's mistake, he would have been up there as well in a similar position as Tim, and I think it would have been Tim and Brando fighting for position, as we're going to see probably another change of the lead around about now. Here's Yossi to the inside. Now he backs Oxley, wants to save some ERS.
He does, and Yossi at the minute has got a full amount of battery. So he's looking good right now. Renz has got a full amount of battery as well, and it's all about saving that ERS towards the later stages of this race. I mean, we've got, what, 11 laps to go now? 10.5 if you're being picky. Renz leading the way, Yossi second, Ryan there in third. Credit, by the way, to Yaron and Sapala. They're continuing on out on track. They are expecting potentially another safety car in this race to come from somewhere. At the minute, it looks very, very unlikely that we could get a safety car in this race. Oh, as Ryan was very close to the back end there of Yossi, coming in towards turn number 6 there at Ferradura. But Renz leading the way, Yossi second, Ryan there in third. Full credit where credit's due to Yaron and Sapala, because in my shoes, I probably would have retired by now out on track just to try and conserve your mentality more than anything else. They're still continuing on. They're still maybe got a chance at the points, but that's only if a VSC or a safety car comes into their favour. We're not going to get one at this stage because everyone's behaving themselves. As soon as I say that, though, Fetty side by side around the outside of turn 14. Nice move by Fetty around the outside there on Stefano. Stefano's looking like a sitting duck through that corner, through to Beta Dust boxes. We have got a duckbill corner in Pico de Battle at turn number 10. So he is looking like a duckbill right now down in P10. But Fetty Flooney's into 9th, and Yossi has got the race lead. But Renz is coming back at him, but he's not going to go for the move.
No, Renz is not going to go for the move just yet. I think he's potentially playing it smart. And don't forget, for Renz and Flopman, they're fighting for P3 in the championship and potentially could still get P2 in this championship, even if they make a mistake tonight. So this is key positions as well, which will help them set a marker for next season. But obviously we don't know who's moving over to PC and who's staying on console right now. But it's always a few every season. And I have to say, fair play to the ones who move over to PC this season, because I think all of them are doing a really brilliant job. And it just goes to show that the move from console to PC is not as big as it once was, which, well, there is a remarkable difference, but not as... it is adaptable as well for the first few races. It's more a likeable, adaptable position as Renz looking in the mirrors, and Renz got past Yossi up into P1. But here comes Flopman to the inside. Where has Flopman come from? He's been saving his tyres like no tomorrow here. Flopman for the inside of turn number 3. But here comes Ryan. If anything you could do, you're not going to get a position for me, Missy. In towards Ferradura. Flopman being boxed in a little bit. And nicely done from Ryan up to third place. And I did not see this coming with these guys fighting. But Flopman, brilliant job. Ryan, brilliant job. Jamie, biggest loser out of all of that. So is Tim.
Well, Tim is actually the biggest gainer, I think, out of all of this. Because all of those are false. And Tim's now within DRS range on the guys ahead. And this is exactly what I said. Around lap 26, 27 is where the crossover period comes for set of hard compound tyres. Brandox Keki further down the field. I wouldn't even rule them out potentially of a top 5 finish here out on track. They're done 11th and 12th right now. Renz, though, leads the way. I think Renz has got to have to think about a different strategy here. Obviously, it's not working now with Tim on the back of Jamie, Jamie on the back of Flopman, them fighting aggressively in behind. I personally think if I was in Renz's shoes, as Yossi pulls the inside line for the race lead, if I was in Renz's shoes, or whoever's leading, I'd try and string the field out. I'll try and make it a war of attrition out on track with, what, 7.5 laps to go? So I would try and make that a very much a war of attrition scenario. Drain everyone's battery behind, then recharge, take a lap on, a lap off approach, and then see where it gets you. Tim there down in towards 7 and 4, runs very wide there. coming through turn number 4, lose a bit of time coming out of the corner, but we have got a 12-car DRS train. The front 3 are now grouping up. This is going to be one tense ending. Avatar mentioned in the chat as well for Tim, you need to battle between the 5 front drivers in front of him. I mean, Avatar at the minute is more with me in terms of the lottery numbers, I think, at this stage, because he's predicted that about 2-3 laps ago, and that's exactly what happened. So Avatar clearly can predict the future.
Yeah, I kind of wish I could have the lottery numbers from Avatar as well. So, Avatar, what are going to be the lottery numbers for Saturday? Thank you very much, because I feel in a very lucky mood. But we're not that long to go until the end of the race, and, well, we've got our picks in P1 and P2. You're probably going to ask us for lottery numbers very soon. Let's run to the inside of Yossi up into P1. Obviously, Yossi definitely faring a lot better with these type of circuits, as Brando does get a free ticket time penalty, which is not ideal. Jerome's going into the pit. I assume he's going to retire the car, which he does, which is a shame. So we're down to 13 drivers, but Yossi has dropped off a bit to Renzi. He was struggling on exit, which is allowing Ryan to catch up on all of this, and for it to be a long DRS train again. We're back in business.
Yossi's got more ERS though than Renz still, so Renz is now having to try and force the pace, and this is exactly good for the guy in P2, P3. Yossi, I think, is going to just try and hold on to the back. I'm not sure if he's got any potential weakness going on out on track now, or if he's maybe struggling on those tyres. But Renz there leading the way. If there's one thing that is very good about Renz, this tyre wear. And Cameron Dowd's obviously not being here tonight. That has put now Renz completely in the spotlight for his tyre wear. Yossi is going to have to try and charge now. Through the left-hand of turn number 14, he's got Ryan all over his back end, but he's not going to be close enough down towards turn number 1. Yossi could, however, be on the back of Renz, but this is going to get very tactical now. On lap 31 out of 36, nobody is going to go for this race lead now, probably until either the penultimate lap of the race or the final lap of the race. It'll be very foolish, I think, for them to try and do that, try and string out the field now. So this is going to have to get tactical. Renz leading the way. If he can force a mistake out of Yossi and behind him, perfect, because he can gap a second very easily, and Yossi will be the one doing all the chasing. But if Renz is the one that makes the mistake and Yossi's the one that's applying him under pressure, then everyone gets put back into a real mixer in terms of the strategies, in terms of the racing. And we could look at somebody like Tim, like Backy further down the field, who can really, really come alive in this race. As soon as I say that, Slotman's to the inside line on Ryan, and that all of a sudden might just put a whole kettle of fish in this race.
Bring it on. Flotman has been saving, James. That's what he's been doing. He's been waiting for the perfect moment, but those tyres are going to fall off the edge of a cliff right now. We have not had any safety car, so they're being forced to a one-stop strategy. We thought they were going to pit towards that 25 and 26, go on to a two-stop, but they're being on a one-stop, and we know that they could get punch territory soon. So would you risk going for a set of softs now, or would you risk gaining position but getting a punch and then you lose out on all of it? It's just very, very tough. But we did have a safety car, so that could have changed things quite significantly. But I don't want to be the one who loses it out on the puncher.
Volakongan's right on the back of Backy. Sorry to cut you off there, Jess. He's right on the back, coming to the right hand of turn number 6 and 7. And now looks for the move in towards turn number 8 of Loranhat. Tries to get the job done to the inside line. Backy on the inside line. They're going to try and fight. Try and force him off the camber of the corner. Through turn number 9. Now towards Beaker of Hatter at turn number 10. And Volakongan, surely he's got half a car length ahead. He's got a full car length ahead. The Norwegian pulls off the move. The experienced man on the grid. He's Flooney's into 7th. He's only been in PSGL, PSF1 for 5 seasons now. But what a 5 seasons it is. Volakongan now up to 7th. Backy there down to 8th. And that was an old school move from the Norwegian, as Tim is on the back of Jamie. Jamie's on the back of Flotman. Flotman's weak down the straight in terms of straight line speed. Here comes Jamie to the outside line of him in towards turn 1. Tries to fend off the move, but Flotman just gives him a little tap and just shoves him to one side. Flotman remains 4th.
Yeah, Flotman does remain 4th for the time being, but can he get the podium? That's going to be key. Flotman has got to take the risk sometimes. And don't forget, he's still got a chance to get this race win. Literally, we got 9 drivers vying for this race victory. And if one person makes a mistake, Pele could win, Backy could win, Volakongan can win. I know a lot of people are going to take more risks than normal, and that's going to be, I think, very interesting to say the least. And the fact that they're all so close, even on lap 33 or 36, is amazing. And if you're thinking, there hasn't been a safety car? Yes, but at the very start of the race. Not at this point, and they're just all still so tightly bunched together.
Definitely, and Ren's there leading the way. He's going to have to think about gapping Yossi. Again, it's a bit of torn in two minds because Yossi is going to have to try and force Ren into not leading on the final lap of the race. So Yossi's going to have to force himself into not doing that. Race's instinct, though, will take over. Is he going to go for the race lead? No, he's not. Brannox is through on Backy. Jamie's nearly through on Floorman and towards turn number 1. Tim up the inside line. Bit of a knock-on effect in between. Ryan's unsettled the car. And now Jamie gets outdone by Tim around the outside of turn number 2. But Jamie, straight on the power. Straight on that DRS. Running down the straight now. In towards turn number 4 to see the logo. He's on the outside line. He's got barely a quarter of a car length ahead. Tim to the inside line, though. Fights back to the inside. And he gets the full car length ahead. Coming out of turn number 4 to see the logo. Tim through and he's into 5th. Jamie there down in 6th. All of this now beginning to have knock-on effects in behind. The guys are going to have to get very, very animated now. In the final 2.5 laps, Renz leads the way. Yossi 2nd. Ryan there in 3rd. Game on in this race. And Renz is going to remain there on the final lap of the race. Yossi will be there or thereabouts coming down towards turn 3.
Yep, Yossi has still got a very good shot, but he's dropping back a little bit, but maybe he's doing this to potentially throw off Renz and think, oh, I'm comfortable getting the race win, but when Yossi gets past it, it could be a slam dunk, but it could be anyone as well. Lap 35 of 36 now, the penultimate round. No, the penultimate lap of this race. We're at the penultimate round of the season. I could have said it the other way around and it would have been a lot better, but who cares at this stage? But we've got Renz versus Yossi in towards turn number 3 and 4. I don't think Yossi's going to go for the move just yet. Ryan and Flopman, I think they're all going to go for on the final lap. That's what they're going to do. They're playing it safe through here because they don't want to burn their ERS or tyres too quickly. Fair play for those drivers for getting to the end. As Sapala, unfortunately, I think might call it a day because he got a 5-second penalty. Has been in a bit late. He's going to go for the send of Drees. Unfortunately, he did not make it stick. But I don't know how he did not make contact with Ryan. Great stuff from Flopman. And you going to try and go again around the outside, maybe? Nope, he is not. But literally, anyone in the top 10 could win this race. And James, I'm going to let you cover the final lap. This is going to be great. We've got battle for the win, battle for the podium, battle for the top 10 points. I don't know where to look.
Yep, and it's all going to come down to Sapala there. Is retired actually out on track through turn number 1. That's very unfortunate for his perspective. I think he retired there.
No, he binned it.
Crashed in the pit lane, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Yossi on the back though of Renz. Coming down in towards turn number 1 for the race lead. This is all going to depend on the drag up the hill in towards turn number 15 on the final lap of the race. At this moment in time, Yossi is sitting pretty, right in behind on Renz. Ryan and Flopman, I think they're out of it now. They're 4-3 tenths behind now. Coming to the left-hand of turn number 4. Yossi is going to be the one, I think, that is going to try and take up this race win. Volakongan is fighting with Jamie, his own teammate, up the hill. In towards turn number 6 of Ferradura. Tries to go all the way around the outside, the Norwegian. Surely not. If he gets this move done, this will be remarkable. To the outside line, tries to get the job done. Jamie shuts the door on him. Jamie gets the move back into 6th. Volakongan there in 7th. Through the final half of the lap we go. Yossi has got to get a good run exit now. Coming out of Beacon Apato at turn 10. Through the left-hander of Magulio at turn number 11. Through the left-hander of Junsao at turn number 12. The car just been unsettled slightly. He's gone a little bit too deep into the corner. And now that puts Renz completely on the front foot on the run to the line. Renz leads the way. Yossi there in 2nd. It's going to be a complete drag. But I think that mistake is enough for Renz to take this race win. It is indeed. Renz to the line. Wins in Brazil. Yossi there in 2nd. If it wasn't for that final lap mistake, he would have potentially had that. Ryan there in 3rd. But in the end, it is Renz out on top. Jess gets a prediction right for the first time in quite a while this season. Yossi there in 2nd. And it's all because he went too deep in towards turn number 12 at Junsao. Put him under pressure. And sometimes the best crack under that pressure. And Renz won.
Yeah, Renz doing a really good job there. He was playing it smart. He was forcing Yossi into a mistake, and sometimes that's what you got to do when you're leading in the race as well. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Would you prefer to be leading on the final lap or be in 2nd? But we know what Renz wanted to do. He wanted to be leading the final lap to put the pressure on the Aussie, and that's exactly what he did. So we'll run through your results in just a moment, but what a great race, what a phenomenal round. I know the title has been decided already, but that doesn't mean we've had no action. We had brilliant action, as we got Renz out there on top, Yossi in second, Ryan in third, Blockman in fourth, Tim fifth, Jamie in sixth, Olakonga in seventh, Fede in eighth, Stefano ninth, then we got Baki in 10th, we got Brando, Keke, Sapalo is still classified, so I think he will still be classified, but your times are your own, Marios and Noof. What a race. What a race, and something I remember for quite a bit actually in PSGL. We still got the final race to come very, very soon, and it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it turned into a right drag, I've got to say, up the hill in towards turn number 14 and 15. And in the end, Renz took that race win. And I think Renz took that race win based on two things. One, Yossi locking up in towards turn number 12, him getting that job done, coming out of the corner, and just maintaining that mentality on the run up toward the line. He could have easily bottled it in terms of his ERS, but he didn't. And the second thing I've got to say is as well, he had his car exactly in the right position. Normally, about 99% of the times around here that I've done commentary in Brazil, we normally see drivers in second and third come from behind, try and snatch the race win on the final lap of the race. But in the end, Renz took the race win. Unfortunately, we're not going to get an interview from him, which we're getting robbed of. I know Ryan, I think, is going to be definitely joining. Not sure about Yossi at this stage, but we have also got Matteo to exclusively interview after his PSGL PSF1 Championship win as well. He's in the waiting room, but we'll wait first on Ryan to join, and then the rest, I'm sure, will follow.
Yes, now that race has happened, we can confirm that Matteo is officially now the PSF1 champion. Mass congratulations. But that's not the only one that's being crowned tonight, James. The PSF2 champion has been crowned as well after a really great performance in the wet. He's in the chat. Congratulations, Dirk, on your F2 title, and we'll see him in PSF1 next season. What a great season Dirk's been having, and really consistent as well, and very well deserved. So 2 champions being crowned tonight in the form of Matteo and Dirk, so well done to them.
Yeah, and Dirk is certainly going to be trying to make his step up, of course, in F1 24 now. Obviously, F1 24 is a complete new game cycle, so everyone's pace is going to be all over the place, I'm sure, at the start. So Dirk is going to manage that. Matteo's going to manage that as well, of course, if he is on console going forward on the next game cycle. We have got Ryan and Matteo waiting in, so I'm ready whenever you are for the interviews.
I'm ready when you are too. Let's bring Ryan into the commentary box.
Right, let's bring him in. We should... Oh, he's on PlayStation.
Oh, for goodness sake.
He's on PlayStation.
Oh, we got Yossi in the waiting room.
We have. Is he on PlayStation as well? Let's find out.
Let's find out. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
He's not.
Yossi, can he hear us?
Yes.
Over to you, James.
There he is. Yes, there he is. My pick for the race win. Gone astray on the final lap of the race, unfortunately, but it is F70 Yossi who finished there in second position. That last lap was very tense from your perspective. Talk us through it, and still, congratulations on that P2, but I know for a fine fact that mistake is going to go down and thinking, why on earth did I do that?
Yeah, I'm not very frustrated because I went into this race with a very limited amount of training. So I was pretty surprised that I took pole position. And yeah, then the race went really well. Pace and strategy was good. Yeah, a shame that there was a safety car, but yeah, then I could manage the race very well, and we did switch position with Randy during all the race. And in the end, I knew it was going to be short, but a little mistake, as you saw in the final corner. But yeah, Rand deserved the win also. So yeah, I'm not very, very frustrated. But yeah, even without that mistake, probably I wouldn't have got the win. So yeah, happy by my side with this race. And yeah, nothing to add.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the better performances. I think we can definitely guarantee that from this season. I mean, your best finish of the season before tonight was 4th, and that was in Australia, round 1 of the championship. You finished 4th there. So being on the podium for the first time this season, where you've had countless amounts of bad luck in every single race I think you've had this season, must be so forthcoming, and especially now, it's coming toward the end of the game cycle, you can carry that form onto the next game.
Yeah, I was under pressure at the start of the season, but then I couldn't race for the for 3-4 races, and then coming back, I was really calm, and I knew that I wasn't fighting for the championship, so nothing to lose, and just having fun to drive, and that's cool. That's nice to see when I'm not stressed a bit, and I'm just calm and I just have fun. I can do very good results, and I forgot that it was a P4 in Australia and not a P1. It's a shame, but still happy.
Unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately it wasn't. Unfortunately it wasn't, but still, you've got a podium at least. You can definitely say that. I don't think there's going to be any steward reports coming out from the front 3, so I can definitely guarantee that P2 finish out on track. Jess, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
Yes, firstly, I have to say, good comeback today for you to be back on the pace in Brazil, even though you weren't expecting it as well. Of course, we got the final round on F1 23. We've got Texas. What are your thoughts going into this? Of course, you got nothing to lose, but what are you gonna do to round off the season on a high?
I won't have a lot of time. I know this week I think I will not train probably for this race, but I will.
You did not train much in Brazil, and look what happened.
Yeah, but Brazil is a track that I'm usually I don't like this track, but I'm usually fast on. I don't know why, but Texas, it's a totally different track, and I only raced once there, but I'm gonna still try to find time to train a bit, and just have fun for the final round of the season.
That's my questions, Mr. James Head. Back to you.
Sounds really good from my perspective as well. Our final question from me, most important one: are you thinking about staying on console on F1 24?
I see your face.
He's not sure.
I don't know at the moment. It's I don't really know. It's hard. It's hard to know at the moment. But you will see at the start of F1 24 if I'm on a PC or on a PS. So
So on the fly decision then. Interesting.
Well, at least he's going to be on F1 24 is what we can definitely guarantee, I think, from that final question. Yossi, we are going to let you go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very welcome indeed. We are going to go into the waiting room because we can interview the man who finished in P3 in Mr. NLR. Now, there we are, just like that, mid-conversation as I interrupt them there. Ryan, P3 out on track. Congratulations, first and foremost. Another podium finish here, of course, in PSGL. But it could have been potentially a lot more in that race, given how the front 2 were overtaking each other about 30 times out of 36 laps.
It could have been more. But first of all, I'm happy to finally get a podium that I will hopefully keep after the steward decisions. Yeah, I mean, it could have been more, but I had some fighting with Flopman and some rear-ending with Flopman that cost me quite a bit of ERS. But to be fair, after seeing them switch around for like 30 laps, I thought, no chance that I will overtake both or even one car.
Yeah, and obviously how that race was transpiring ahead of you, obviously you were thinking maybe just to try and nip up that P3. Obviously, you had Flopman really on the back of you coming through the final couple laps of that race. Talk us through that, because Flopman was putting you under all sorts of pressure. I think at one point you were nearly gapped outside of a second to the front two.
Yeah, we had some, like I said, we had some fighting, and I think he touched me 2 times into turn 1. It happens, we're racing so closely, but yeah, that cost me some time in DRS, like I said. And I think we were side by side into turn 4 once. That also cost some ERS and some time, but all good. Didn't lose me too much.
Yeah, didn't lose you too much at all. And obviously it fills up your confidence going forward into the final couple of races of the season. I'm not going to steal Jess's question, don't worry. Jess, over to you.
First of all, again, well done on the podium. I really do hope you keep it this time, because otherwise our conversation is going to be meaningless. But I've got 2 questions, actually. One I forgot to ask, but James asked it for me. First of all, Texas next week, the final round of the season. How are you around there, and what are your goals going into the final round, knowing where you are in the championship?
Yeah, I might be sick for Texas. I won't attend, maybe. No, yeah, my pace is shocking around Texas. I don't like the track at all. Probably my worst track on this game, so just trying to survive and have fun in the last race, if that's possible on Texas. And yeah, championship-wise, whatever comes to me, to be fair.
That is a good answer to that question, to be fair, as well. And the final question for me, are you planning to be on console or PC next season, if you're racing next season?
I was still on console.
Okay, so there's one driver now. We know James, who's staying on console. You happy now?
I am very happy now. I'm very, very happy now. It has certainly brought a smile to my already delighted face from the Aussies P2 out on track. But Ryan, P3 out on track. Go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Very welcome indeed. And now we can speak, even though we didn't race here tonight, to the man who has wrapped up the PSGL PSF1 Drivers' Championship of Season 36. It is Mr. ET8, Mateo. And Mateo, first and foremost, congratulations on that championship victory. First question I want to ask you, of course, is, at the start of the season, first season in Season 36 of PSF1, did you ever dream that you'll be champion at this point and sitting with us now?
First of all, thanks, James. It was probably the hardest season I've ever faced in my short career, if we can call it like that. Yeah, like I said in the post-season interviews of F2, after winning the title, Evan asked me if I could be winning this championship. And I said, I would be lying if I told you I didn't already think about it. And that small dream came true, basically. I knew I had a small chance because I showed really good pace in the second half of the season in F2. But to win it with 2 races to spare against a driver like Cameron, against a lot of other drivers who are really talented, it's just a dream that I couldn't have thought about at the start of the season.
Yeah, that dream certainly became a reality, I think, early on, because Australia first round of the championship, you picked up a race win, had to wait a little while, and then you got 2 on the trot, of course, in Austria and Canada. Then again in Baku, you've had 6 podiums overall this season, even without attending here in Brazil, which I'm sure you would have picked up a podium here tonight if you did race. But with that in mind, your form, I think, this season, and that consistency that you've maintained has been everything, I think, to wrapping up this title win.
Yeah, the consistency was obviously key, because I said it many, many times while talking with other drivers. I don't think I have the best pure pace on PlayStation. There are other drivers that are faster than me, but I think the consistency and the racecraft was just key to this result, because I won basically every race by racecraft, not by pure pace. Australia won on penalties after the race. Austria, I won while fighting in the last lap. Canada, the same thing. And Baku, I got the whole field in the last 2 sectors because I picked my fights well. So yeah, I took my best strength and I used it to win this title. That's it, basically.
Yeah, and I can definitely say, with that calculation, I think that you had in your mind, you were so forthcoming. Even in the interviews that we did previous to this one, I think, really are taken back by how much talent that you've got going forward. And you're still of an age where you're still not F1 sim racing level just yet, but I know for a fine fact that this is going to be well in your mind moving forward as a future goal. My overall final question before I hand it over to Jess to see if she's got any is, what does the future hold for Matteo going on to F1 24? You've obviously wrapped up the title here tonight, obviously wrapped up the PSF2 title last season. Could we perhaps see you again, season 37, no matter if it's on console or PC, doing it again?
As I said many times, this is just an hobby for me. You know, I don't put too much time in it. So I think that PC level is just a bit too high for the amount of time I play.
Mm-hmm.
I can't deny, obviously, I've put in some really good performances, but I think that for the time being, it's better for me to stay on PS and just enjoy racing at the highest level possible on console.
That Jay just smiled there on camera. I know you can't see him, but on the stream, but he was just like, yes.
and breaking news as well, I think we're going to get the Matteo Cameron Dowds belt that we all wanted next season as well, because I can report Cameron Dowds is also staying on console from an interview that I did with him on Friday evening. So that is going to whet your appetite going forward on F1 24. Jess, any questions?
I was going to ask exactly the same question on whether he's going to go on console or PC, but at least we know that now as well. What a great season from you. I was hyping you too much when you won your F2 title last season, saying good luck in F1. I know you're going to do great, but what do you think was your best race this season that you will remember? What's been the highlight?
I think the highlight was Austria, because, you know, when I watched that race back, I still get goosebumps watching the fight, hearing James' commentary. And yeah, I think that's the symbol of my season, because that's the best victory out of them all. Once again, didn't have the best pace, but showed that when it comes to racecraft, I think I can say I'm one of the best on PlayStation.
And I think I could agree with that as well. You obviously do well in other leagues, in team events as well. They rate highly of you. Obviously, you've done it in the other league, and now you've done the double on PSGL as well. So. Yeah, that is my question, James. Do you have any other final questions?
Judging by looking in the chat, Mirko Soriano was desperate to ask you a question. How much did Mirko Soriano's pep talk help you on your winning journey? That's a question genuinely from him.
Little bit of a funny thing. If it wasn't for Mirko now, I probably wouldn't be here, because Mirko suggested my name to ET8, to the ET8 manager Mark, and yeah, probably if it wasn't for Mirko suggesting my name to ET8, I wouldn't be here. So he really helped me in some sort of way, we can say that.
A PSF1 champion as well, Mirko Soriano. I believe it was either season 31 or season 32.
31, if I'm not mistaken.
See, yeah. And Mirko's saying that's my boy, so he likes that.
He does, and Bekele there in the chat as well. I think he's part of the ET8 team, maybe one of your engineers, judging by this. How much was crucial my engineering during the whole season? And this is something that we don't really get a chance to look into, but behind the scenes, the engineers. So if there's anybody to thank, now is the time to do so.
Absolutely, I was going to do it. I gotta thank, obviously, Mark for bringing me into the ET8 team and taking me all of the way here. The whole ET8 team, because they really helped me improve. All the lobbies we did together, all the time we spent together. Bas, who engineered me last season and started my process for being an F1 champion. Lifebot for his fantastic setups and strategies. And last but not least, Fully, who engineered me for this whole season and was absolutely key in some race wins. So massive thanks to him and to all of the people I've mentioned here, because without them, I would definitely not be here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really good to see the inner workings of the team. I think as strong as a team as ET8 is, obviously leading the ML right now, doing well in Legacy Division, really got a bright future as the team. And you, my friend, have certainly got a very bright future going on to console on F1 24. We're not going to take up any more of your time. Go and enjoy evening and hopefully enjoy a cold one on us.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Jess. And hopefully see you in Kota for one last dance this season.
Yeah, see you next week at Kota. We can't wait. So let us move into Comms Box 1 to sum up the final moments of this stream, because we'll be going on for a long while. But I have to say, it was nice interviewing Matteo, finding out what his highlights and lows were for the season. And the thing is, he thought about it earlier on, just after he won the F2 champion. He think, right, what can I do to win the F1 title? Some people think, oh, I'm just going to score points in F1. Matteo thought like Joey Van Bussel. He wanted to get the double and win in the F1. And that's a mentality of a champion.
It is the mentality of a champion, but I think it's also the mentality of having a good team around you. And there's no I in team. And I think Matteo, as mentioned there, certainly many names, Mirko included in that, Michele, Dirk, of course, wrapping up the ET8 in terms of the F2 championship as well. I know he's there in the chat, very proud of him as well. I think we've got a very, very good, young, talented man on our hands right now on console. And I think this is where me in my third season here in PSGL, PSF1, can definitely say consistency has been key in all of the 3 seasons that we have seen race winners. Joey Van Bussel season 34, Aurelian season 35, Matteo season 36. Every single one of them has been consistent at various points throughout their season, and there are good and bad moments to pick out of each. But now, in the here and now, Matteo is our future. He's one of the best on console right now. He's got Cameron Dowd, who's going to be staying with him on console in F1 24. I know console gets an absolute slack, especially on the PlayStation side. I know Xbox and PlayStation have this big old rivalry, especially in other leagues as well. But what I can definitely say is PlayStation's got a bright future. Their names are Matteo and Cameron Dowd. Wouldn't even rule Flopman and Renz Thomason out of that conversation. The future is bright going on to F1 24.
Definitely do not write PlayStation out for any conversations, because I've been at PlayStation since season 26 and I've been absolutely loving it. It's been my 6th season on PlayStation as well. But we still got one more round. We'll get the calendar for you right now, but the final round is going to be Texas. Make sure you join us in a week's time for the United States Grand Prix to round off season 36 and to round off the final season on F1 23. Make sure you also check out our sponsors, GT Omega. 5% off all GT Omega products by using the code PSGL at checkout, or you could use the link in the description for that, or you can use command !GT Omega in the chat. Also to our partner Sim Racing Centre, that provides some amazing setup strategies and also coaching sessions for 2-time esports champion Brendan Lee in order for you to become a better driver. There's also options for you to pre-order setups for F1 24. So if you are interested, make sure you get that. You can use the code PSGL for 10% off or everything pretty much as well. So make sure you check that out. James, can you let us know on the final streams on F1 23 this week? They're coming up. What's to look out for the remaining few weeks of PSGL?
They are indeed, yeah. On Thursday, we've got all pretty much PC tiers, that is F2 all the way down to F9. Many of them getting covered, of course. No assist tiers, 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time, of course, on Thursday. E-Series, I believe, is also on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. I think they've got their final 2 rounds of the championship coming on for PSGL E-Series, so if you do want to tune in for that as well, Friday night is the place to be. It's normally Alex Heron and Josh Griffin Meek, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
sometimes filled in.
It's Joshua and Nathan. Get that right, yeah. James.
I'm getting them confused. I'm getting them confused from elsewhere. They commentate elsewhere as well. It's fine. Nathan and Josh are going to be taking to the action, of course, on Friday night, and that is, of course, at 7 p.m. UK time. And then you can catch us, of course, on 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time. PSF2 and F4 and F6 also streamed live, of course, at 7 p.m. And then F1, F3, and F5 going to be streamed live on the channel as well. And that is at 8 p.m. UK time next Monday. Don't miss out. And I hope you're all going to be coming wearing your cowboy hats next week.
Yes, I might wear mine as well. See if I can find a checker shirt or something for next week. But we won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like us on our socials at PremierSimGL as well. For myself and James Head. See you next week for the finale on F123, the finale of season 36. We'll leave you with our title sponsor, GT Mega, and our partners, Sim Racing Centre. Have a good evening, and we'll see you in a week's time. Bye-bye now.
He's got the inside off here, he's through on the left hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the ghost is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.